Hi Sagittarius, and welcome to your October 2023 horoscope. October is eclipse season, and that means that it's a wonderful time for growth and learning. Hopefully, this video allows you to feel a little bit more ready for eclipse season. However, if it's still not enough for you, I wanted to let you know that my books are open. I am offering 30-minute personal eclipse readings. We'll sit down one-on-one, we'll pull up your chart, and we'll go into more detail as to what this means for you. If this is something that you think, yes, I want that, please, where do I sign up? Then the booking link is down in the description box. Between the 2nd and the 4th of October, Mars is conjunct the South Node in your 11th house, and Venus is sextiling them from your 9th house. It's time for you in October to take a look at all of the ways you are compromising on your long-term visions, on your future plans and goals in order to keep the peace or to not disturb those around you. It's time during this month to figure out what it is that you actually want that brings you joy and is actually in line with the path that you want to take, not being influenced by those around you. With Venus sextiling Mars and the South Node, it's also asking of you to reconsider what organizations or institutions you are trying to please. Is there a certain program that you're following right now, or a certain organization that you're learning from right now, that you care what they think about you more than what you think of yourself? The month does not get any easier. Between the 8th and the 10th of October, Mars begins to separate from the South Node, enters its final degrees of Libra, and as it does that, it squares Pluto in your 2nd house. Around the roughly same time, we have Venus finally leaving Leo, entering Virgo, and as it does that, it opposes Saturn in Pisces. So a lot of squares and oppositions. So between the 8th and the 10th, there might be a lot of intense energy that you're feeling. You have already started reconsidering your future vision. And now that Pluto is in this conversation in your 2nd house, you're also starting to consider if there are any outdated beliefs that you have about how you can earn money. Perhaps there's a part of you that still feels you need to earn money in the old-fashioned way or in an old-fashioned way. And during this reconsideration of your future, you might start to question whether that is really true. You might start to see that there are new ways that you can earn money. And around the 8th and 10th, you might find that you are a little bit more front and center in your career and in the public image because Venus has entered your 10th house, your career house. So you might find yourself naturally stepping more into the analytical self that you are when it comes to your work, when it comes to your public image. And because Saturn is in your 4th house, you might find that you're naturally stepping a little bit away from the difficulties that might be happening around your home, around your family, for example. So just try to make sure that this is still kept in balance. Saturn in the 4th house can mean that things are a little bit more difficult at home, but that doesn't mean to just ignore it and throw yourself into your work. If you allow yourself to go through the lessons that Saturn is asking from you when it comes to your home and when it comes to your family, then the rewards will be quite big once Saturn leaves Pisces in about 2 years' time. If all of this has been really intense and you've just decided to ignore it and shove it under the carpet, I'm sorry to let you know, but it's all going to come right back out. And it's going to come right back out on the 14th of October. We have a solar eclipse in Libra on the 14th in your 11th house. The solar eclipse, we have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, and the South Node all in your 11th house. And the stories around the solar eclipse are still the same. This is because the planets in Libra are still making the same aspects. They are squaring Pluto in your second house and trining Saturn in your fourth house. My advice during the solar eclipse would be just keep reconsidering, keep questioning yourself whether the goals that you're striving for are truly yours. Whether you are maybe even overly focused on your long term goals, but when you actually look at your day to day, you are not having any fun and you're not enjoying the process along the way. After the solar eclipse, things start to cool down a bit. This is because all of the planets in Libra start to move away from the south node and disperse some of that energy. Specifically, though, as they move along and as the sun moves along in the final degrees of Libra, they each, including the sun, are going to hit a square to Pluto in your second house. So on the 21st, we have the sun squaring Pluto exactly. You might find some of these themes again coming up around your future goals and the old fashioned beliefs about how you earn money. These themes are still coming up. However, I think this day will be a little bit easier than the beginning of the month. This is because of many things. First of all, the planets are stepping away from the south node, which is already quite intense. Secondly, the sun moves quite fast, so actually its square to Pluto will not be there for too long. And finally, I'm also saying this because we have a beautiful aspect between Venus and Jupiter on the 21st. Venus in your 10th house is trining Jupiter in your 6th house. And the way I like to look at this day is if you have done the hard work in the first half of the month in the solar eclipse, that on the 21st, there's a little bit of a reward for all of your hard work. And for you specifically, Sagittarius, I see this vitality with Jupiter in your 6th house. I see this vitality, this energy. You're feeling amazing. Your routine is on track. You feel healthy and energetic so that you're able to direct all of that and be your best self in your career, in how you show up with the rest of the world. And the two go hand in hand. Because you're doing really well in your career, you also feel more energetic, more inspired, and more able to keep on track with your routine. 2 days later, on the 23rd, the sun finally leaves Libra and enters Scorpio. And as it does that, it trines Saturn in Pisces in your 4th house. This is more of an internal shift for you in the second half of October and actually through the rest of November as well. Because we're moving from houses that are quite public, 11th and 10th house, all of that energy is now moving into Scorpio, which is your 12th house. The 12th house is more internally focused. It's about our internal world. And specifically on the 23rd, when the sun enters Scorpio and trines Saturn, you might find that all of a sudden you're also re-examining what you believe in your subconscious about your long-term goals, what you believe in your subconscious about the foundation that you need to have in order to go out there, feel secure, and achieve things in your life. As a Sagittarius, your family and your home is a bit of a pain point for you. I would say that you struggle to keep boundaries when it comes to that area of your life. And what you need to step more into now with all of the planets moving into the sign of Scorpio is digging deep into that part of you that does not take any crap from anybody. Learning to be a little bit less compassionate, a little bit less understanding of other circumstances, and just forgiving everybody left, right, and center. And actually step a little bit more into your feeling. If something does not feel right, deciding not to do it. Moving on, all of the other planets like Mercury start to enter Scorpio, and we end up having a lunar eclipse on the 28th. So the Sun, Mercury, and Mars are in Scorpio in your 12th house, opposing the Moon and Jupiter in your 6th house. You are going through a deep transformation within. You are digging deep as to all of the beliefs that you have inside you that do not serve you anymore, and you're feeling quite a bit. But at the same time, during this lunar eclipse, you might have the tendency to step back into keeping everything in your routine very mellow, not letting anybody see what you're going through. Just ticking off the check boxes, keeping everything fine and dandy and peaceful and amazing around you. This lunar eclipse might really challenge that. So make sure you're allowing yourself time and space to feel what you're feeling. Give yourself time and space to just feel crap. Give yourself time to just overthink and spend time examining what is going on inside of you. And finally, we close off the month with a trine versus Venus and Uranus. So Venus in your 10th house is trining Uranus in your 6th house. So you have been excelling in your career since Venus entered Virgo at the beginning of the month. However, at the same time, you've had Uranus in your 6th house for really a while now. So you've been really thinking about how you can adjust your day-to-day routine to really be more in line with who you are and what you need, not to stick to some pre-fashioned, pre-made routine that everybody is supposed to follow. So on the 31st, because there's a trine between Venus and Jupiter, you might find that these two, your career and your day-to-day routine, just somehow start to fit together very nicely and work well very nicely. So I would use the 31st to just observe what is working and why it's working. Take some notes, and then hopefully you can use those notes later on to adjust whenever things start to fall out of balance again. And that's it. That's all of October. Sagittarius, it's a very much outward centered time for you. In October, you're spending a lot of time thinking about where you're going, thinking about your career. So remember, towards the second part of the month, that you might feel a little bit more of an inclination to dig deep, go internal. Don't deny yourself that. Sometimes closing off in our cocoon and thinking and crying and whatever else we need to do, we come out stronger after that. Again, if you feel after this video that you want to sit down together with me and really just pull up your chart, look specifically at what's happening, what planets the eclipses are hitting for you personally, then I am holding 30-minute personalized eclipse readings. The booking link is down in the description box. Thank you for joining me. I do these forecasts every month, so if you want to make sure you catch the one in November, then make sure you subscribe. I hope to see you again soon.